Here comes the pitch. Breaking ball, strike three call. The Rangers are going to the World Series.
Woo! Let's go, baby. That's what I'm freaking talking about. Welcome back, everybody, to the first edition of the Dallas Cowboys post-game show here on the Dallas Sports Unfiltered podcast. And yes, it is a Victory Tuesday. It's actually Monday night recording this, but you're probably listening to this on Tuesday morning. But it is a Victory Tuesday. Your Dallas Cowboys absolutely curb stomp the Philadelphia Eagles, and those stinking Philly fans can get the hell out of Dallas as they got their asses kicked tonight in a 41-21 victory for the Dallas Cowboys. And what a great victory it was. We're going to get into all of the nits and grittiness of this win for the Dallas Cowboys. But, man, it was a great night here in Dallas. Not just for the Dallas Cowboys, but for the whole organization as a whole, because Jimmy Johnson got inducted into the Ring of Honor, as well as Drew Pearson got his ring for the Hall of Fame. And it was just a phenomenal night to be a Dallas Cowboys fan and for Dallas Cowboys alum. And did Jimmy Johnson getting in the Hall of Fame finally break that curse that a lot of Cowboys fans think that have been held over the team since Jimmy Johnson was, fired by Jerry Jones. But yes, your Dallas Cowboys defeat the Philadelphia Eagles in this game, and the Cowboys go on to 2-1. Will face the Carolina Panthers next week at noon on Fox. But the Cowboys go to 2-1 in the NFC East, and in NFC East division now, that looks like the Cowboys are pretty positioned to run away with this division, and it's looking pretty likely that the Cowboys can leap off this victory and go on a nice little win streak here, as their next three games are the Carolina Panthers, the New York Giants, and the lowly New England Patriots this year. So yeah, it looks like the Cowboys are ready to springboard and go on a nice little run here before the bye week. And yeah, first off, congratulations to Dan Quinn and this defense. I mean, I don't think anybody expected this start to the season for the Cowboys defense, and dealing with all of the injuries too. DeMarcus Lawrence, Neville Gallimore, Kelvin Joseph, Keanu Neal wasn't out there tonight. Carlos Watkins wasn't out there tonight. With all of these setbacks and injuries that the Cowboys defense has faced, Dan Quinn has found a way to put this talent in position to win. But also, this young talent has stepped up and worked their ass off. And first off, my man, I said yesterday that one of the keys to the game for the Cowboys was going to be Trayvon Diggs. And Trayvon Diggs might have just played his best NFL game of his young career. I mean, he had 4 or 5 pass breakups, and he had the pick 6. I mean, that was, in my opinion, easily Trayvon Diggs' best game of his young career by far. I'm going to have to go back whenever the All-22 gets uploaded. I'm going to watch the film. But, man, Trayvon Diggs absolutely just took Devontae Smith out of this game. He wasn't even a factor. He knows those guys from Alabama. Jalen Hurts, his stats on paper, yards-wise, look good, but a lot of those came in garbage time. He ended up with about 330 and 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. But yeah, the Cowboys forcing turnovers. The Cowboys now lead the NFL in turnovers. Anthony Brown got a pick today on an underthrown pass by Jalen Hurts, and then Trayvon Diggs gets that pick 6. Trayvon Diggs also had some really key third down pass breakups. But yeah, just wanted to give my man Trayvon Diggs some credit. And, the whole secondary as a whole played phenomenal. It's really weird to say that. Anthony Brown wasn't bad tonight. He gave up some plays. They gave up some chunk plays. That's going to happen on this defense. But I never thought in my life as a Cowboys fan that I would say the Cowboys are getting competent play out of all of their safeties. Jerron Kearse, Donovan Wilson was good the first game. Jerron Kearse, Malik Hooker. I mean, they're getting quality play out of their safeties. Jerron Kearse, another solid game tonight. Malik Hooker had some couple good pass breakups. They have a very solid safety rotation right now that is playing really, really well. And it's very impressive to just see the Cowboys got basically all these guys for nothing. And we're going to start off on the defensive side of the ball, but I'm not going to keep y'all too long. I know y'all want to get some quick reactions for whatnot. You got a ton of other post-game shows to go, and I got school tomorrow, so I'm going to keep this short. But the safety play for the Cowboys has been so adequate through the first 3 games. It's really been impressive to me. And in all honesty, I didn't expect that coming in. I thought, I really wanted them to draft a safety in this draft. Trevon Moehrig was a guy I really wanted. The Raiders ended up drafting him. But the safety play has been more than exceptional. And man, this defense only gave up 14 points tonight. 7 of it was off a turnover, a defensive touchdown by Philly. 7 of it was a garbage time when they were already up 41-14. And then they had one drive where they just gave a lot of big plays and they scored 1 touchdown. But the defense essentially only gave up 14 points tonight, which is really, really, really good. But now we're gonna move on to just call me a freaking prophet out here. Another guy said he really needed to have a step up tonight was Osa Odigizua, and Osa had a phenomenal game. I mean, an absolutely dominant game on that defensive line against that backup guard. He had that sack at the end of the first half was absolutely incredible. I mean, he did a great bull rush and a little rip move where he slapped the guy's hand down and went under his arm, and he just absolutely used one arm and just wrapped Jalen Hurts and brought him to the ground. It was super impressive. And Osa Odigizua is only a rookie. He's gotten a couple, I think he has 1.5 sacks right now in the season, but he's getting pressures, and just this whole defensive line group tonight, I was so impressed with. Osa Odigizua looked really good, but man, Randy Gregory tonight, who I said was going to need to have a good game, Randy Gregory was a monster in the second half tonight. I mean, he drew about 4 or 5 holding calls, and then probably about 6 or 7 more that weren't called. I mean, he was giving them hell. They were collapsing the pocket. They were making Jalen Hurts really uncomfortable tonight. That whole D-line tonight just did a really good job. Micah Parsons off the edge did a great job. He got a half sack tonight, had a bunch of tackles for loss, had this incredible play when the Philadelphia ran a read option with Hurts, and Hurts pulled the ball because Parsons, it was the right read. But Parsons just absolutely ragdolled the tight end, threw him on the ground, and just absolutely mauled Jalen Hurts for a huge stop on 3rd and 1 that eventually would lead to a 3-and-out. But man, Parsons played well tonight. Van Der Esch played well. I didn't see anything at him. Jalen was a little shaky. He had some good stops sideline, but he did give up some bad plays in the gaps, but it's not the end of the world. But man, this defense tonight was so impressive. They were fast, they were efficient, and they didn't have those 3rd down struggles that they did against the Chargers where they given up a lot of big plays, which is really, really, really nice. But yeah, the defense was very good tonight. I was very impressed with Osa Odigizua and Trayvon Diggs, especially. Those 2 guys had really good games. Parsons had a really good game as well. But yeah, we can look at some of the defensive stats. I will go through some of these defensive stats because I think they were just really, really, really good. So when you look at the defensive stats, who got all the tackles, anything, Jerron Kearse tonight had 3 tackles. Anthony Brown had 3 tackles. Jalen Smith had 4 tackles. Parsons, 3 tackles, 0.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. And here's Osa Odigizua. 2 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks tonight for Osa Odigizua. Really good night for Osa Odigizua. Anthony Brown had the pick. Diggs had the pick. Just an overall great night for this Cowboys defense. But now, we're going to transition to the offense side of the ball for both teams. The Eagles' offense, to me, now you're going to give a lot of credit to the Cowboys' defense, but the Eagles' offense just does not look good, guys. I mean, Jalen Hurts, some people think he's the guy. I need to see more out of Jalen Hurts before I think he is a franchise quarterback. I think he can become a franchise quarterback, but we really got to see out of him. So Jalen Hurts finished 25 of 39 for 326. He averaged about 8.4 yards a pass, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He took 2 sacks. He had an 8.9 QBR. That's not good, guys. That is not good. Dak had a 143 quarterback rating. Jalen Hurts an 86 quarterback rating. Not bad. But yeah, Hurts, they kept his rushing in check. But man, this is the thing that baffles me about the Eagles. Miles Sanders only carried the ball 2 times for 27 yards. The Philadelphia Eagles only handed the ball off 3 times. 3 times. The Eagles only handed the ball off 3 times. That is absolutely baffling. You can't win a game like that. You cannot rush the ball 3 times. If you can't even establish a run game, the Cowboys could just sit back, play coverage. I mean, the Eagles, I don't understand. Miles Sanders is a really talented back. I have him in fantasy. I would like him to get the ball sometimes. I mean, good Lord, have mercy. I mean, they didn't even... I feel bad for him, man. They're not even... The coaches, to put it this way, the coaches in Philadelphia are not putting their best players in position to win. And that's completely the opposite with what Kellen Moore's doing for the Cowboys. Kellen Moore is putting his best players in position to win for the Cowboys. In Philadelphia, that just is not happening. Not just this game, but every game so far in general. So far for the Eagles. Maybe not the Atlanta game, but still. Miles Sanders only having 2 carries. 2 carries. And those 2 carries were good. He got 13 yards in about 2 carries. On both carries, he got about 13 yards. I mean, it's baffling to me that they didn't give him the ball more. And I think the Eagles are really going to have to figure out what the hell they're doing on offense, because the play calling tonight for Philadelphia just wasn't good. Borderline. Dan Quinn completely outcoached the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, before we get into the Cowboys offense, we need to have a Mike McCarthy discussion, because this is borderline inexcusable. This is complete bullshit. I cannot actually believe what I watched at the end of the first half. I mean, this is some of the worst. Last week, they completely butchered the clock management. Whatever they had the bullshit with the clock, I don't care. They still butchered that clock management. And then to come back this week, and you have a minute 40 left in the second half. The Cowboys had 2 timeouts. It was 2nd and 31. They could have took 2 timeouts, gotten the ball back, and then potentially gotten a field goal or even a touchdown. And Mike McCarthy proceeded just to let the clock run out. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, Mike McCarthy, he doesn't call plays. He doesn't have the offensive system. His one job is to prepare the team and manage the clock. And he can't do it. Mike McCarthy, honestly, we'd be better off with just making Dan Quinn or Kellen Moore the head coach. And I mean, I think they're going to have to fire McCarthy after this year and make Kellen Moore the head coach, or they're going to have to pay Kellen Moore like $7 million to be the OC, the offensive coordinator. But we're going to have that a later discussion. But borderline, Mike McCarthy is not a good coach. He sucks at his job. The one thing we pay him to do well is manage the freaking clock, and he's just blundered it 2 games in a row. Completely blundered the clock management. And eventually, at some point in the season, the Cowboys are going to have a winnable game, and they're going to lose it because of mishaps in clock management by the coaching staff. The Cowboys, it was with the same thing with Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, they did pretty good clock management with him. But once again, the Cowboys are going to eventually get held back by an inferior coaching staff. Maybe not the DC or the OC, but your head coach. Your head coach is the weakest link in your coaching staff, and you just can't have that. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can't have a head coach who butchers clock management, and I understand what Green Bay fans are talking about with this now. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, and he needs to be taken accountable to it. And Kellen Moore, even on the sideline, was yelling to call the timeout. I mean, at some point, the players on defense should just call the timeout. I'm saying, F it, I'm calling the freaking timeout. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you just can't have that. But it gets swept under. It's gonna get swept under the rug because we won the game. But I'm not gonna forget that. Mike McCarthy, I'm calling you out, man. You need to do better at your job. I play Madden and I can manage the clock better than you. Everybody knows when if you have timeouts at the end of the half, you can call them and get the ball back. But nope, we're just gonna let it run out. We're gonna be conservative. No, you get the ball back, you be aggressive, and you go get more points. But we're gonna ease off the Mike McCarthy talk because I'm just still pissed off about that. I mean, as a football fan, it just hurts my soul to watch how butchered that clock management was. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely god awful. I wanted to bash my head in on my wall after watching that. I never want to see anything like that again. I mean, we're gonna move on though. We're gonna move on and talk about, man, this Cowboys offense is really good. We were moving the ball up and down the field. And we started off the first drive really well, and man, this Cowboys offense is 3-dimensional. I mean, they can do everything. They got the screen game, they got the running game, they got the pass game. The thing is, Dak Prescott doesn't have to throw 50 times, but Dak Prescott, one thing, he now has the second highest completion percentage to start a season since Drew Brees, which is he's at a 77% completion percentage. Dak doesn't have to throw for 500 yards. If he needs to, he can, because he's that good. But it's better when Dak doesn't have to throw 50 times. Dak is when you keep the offense balanced, you keep the defense on their heels, and that's what Kellen Moore is doing. The running game tonight for the Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott, 17 carries, 95 yards, averaged 5.6 yards a carry. He had 2 touchdowns. Pollard, 11 yards, 11 carries, 60 yards, 5.5 a carry. So both your running backs are getting almost 5.5 yards a carry. Zeke, Zeke ran really tough tonight. Really good game from Zeke. Running between the tackles. He trucked a couple people for a couple touchdowns. Really proud of the way Zeke played. He looked really good tonight. Pollard looked good as well. The 1-2 punch worked. And the Cowboys just kept the defense honest. I mean, it's pretty simple. The Eagles at the beginning of the game, they were saying, we're not going to let Dak beat us. We're going to make you run the ball. And the Cowboys O-line just won that battle. I mean, if the Eagles are gonna play too high safety, they're gonna run cover 3. They're gonna run cover 4. I mean, they're essentially giving you the run game. And I like the way Kellen Moore strategically called the run game tonight, because they did a lot of runs out of the shotgun, which is really well, because they have those 2 high safeties, and that 2 high safety look, that's to stop the pass. You're running those cover 3 concepts or those cover 4 concepts with those 2 high safety, or even just running cover 2 man. But they're running a lot of these 2 high safety coverages, and that opens up the middle of the field for the running back. And they did some excellent draw calls from the shotgun, and they get like 7 yards of carry. I mean, it was ridiculous. They were getting 2nd and 3 every time almost for like 4 or 5 drives in a row. I mean, it was great. And then once they got the run going, they could play action and bootleg off that run, and the tight ends were wide open. That's what you got to do. If you can get that run game going, you can draw the linebackers closer to the line of scrimmage, and you can open up the play action pass for the rest of the game, and that's exactly what the Cowboys did. And it speaks to my man Dalton Schultz tonight had a phenomenal game, and a lot of this has to do with the run game. Dalton Schultz tonight had 6 catches for 80 yards and 2 TDs with a 29. He's no Jason Witten, but man, he's a tough runner. He reminds me a lot of Jason Witten, not like younger Jason Witten, not old Jason Witten where he catches it and fall down. But Schultz is a very underrated tight end. I really hope we extend him to last year's rookie contract. We paid Jarwin, but I think Schultz is just a better all-around tight end. He can block pretty well. I really don't want to lose Dalton Schultz. He can block. He makes tough contested catches. I mean, he does everything you want. We don't rely on a tight end like Kelsey or Kittle, but Dalton Schultz just consistently he gets open. He doesn't drop a lot of balls. He catches these crossing routes over the middle, and he just gets yards. I mean, it's that simple. He does exactly what we ask him to do. He's just a very, very, very solid top. I'd say I put him in the top 10 tight ends right now. He's easily a top 10 tight end. And he's perfect at what his job. And a lot of that has to do with the run game, because they open to the run game and they can run those play action crossers out of it. I mean, you play action, the tight ends, you bootleg, the tight ends wide open most of the time. It's a great play design by Kellen Moore, and it speaks to the volumes of how good the game plan was for the Cowboys. That's what they got to do. Keep it balanced. 30 pass, 30 run. That's where we want it. You want 30 pass, 30 run. And I like how they're doing it, because they're taking what the defense gives them. If the defense commits to running at 2 high safety the entire game, the Cowboys are going to run for 200 yards. And if they're going to stack the box, Dak's going to pick you apart with this receiving core. It's literally that simple. The reason it's going to be so hard to beat the Cowboys is because they can run the ball, but they can also pass it just as effectively. They can run for 300 yards on you, and they could throw for 500. It's a week-to-week thing. And I love how they're just taking what the defense gives them. You know, it speaks to the volumes. They're unselfish, and it's really impressive in the aspect of they're totally fine if saying, okay, we're going to run this week. Oh, this week we're going to pass a lot. And they'll still use the screen. I absolutely love the way Kellen Moore uses the screen game. He can get a little cute at times with some reverses and stuff, but they'll put Pollard and Zeke in. They'll motion the running back. They'll motion Pollard across. They'll fake a screen left to Zeke, and then the tight end will block. He'll peel out, and they'll run a tight end screen, and it gets 12 yards every time. I love the aspect of getting the tight ends involved in the screen game, especially because Dalton Schultz can run after the catch. But doing these little misdirect screens to the running backs, to the tight ends, or even the wide receivers, it's super duper impressive, and it really speaks to volumes of the creativity that Kellen Moore has in this West Coast style offense, where you're getting these short passes. And the thing I like about Dak at this point in his career is he's not trying to gunsling. He'll gunsling if he needs to, but he's just if his guy gets to the first down, he's taking those 10-yard first downs every time, and they just move the ball. They're not forcing anything, and it's really, really, really impressive. I'm really impressed with Kellen Moore and how this offense operates, but the one negative I have of this offense right now, we need to have the Tyler Biadasz discussion, because Tyler Biadasz at center is becoming a problem. He's becoming a liability. I mean, give credit. Philly's defensive tackles are really good. Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargraves are really good. But Tyler Biadasz is becoming a problem. He's getting bull rushed back every time into Dak. The reason that fumble happened in the end zone because he got bull rushed back and Dak just didn't have enough time. But Tyler Biotish is becoming a real problem at center, and I think personally it might not happen till later in the season, but they really need to move Connor McGovern to center. He played center at Penn State. He can play center. I think Connor McGovern is better and more NFL prepared than Tyler Biotish is. I think Connor McGovern just is overall a better offensive lineman at this point, just because he has more size and he's not going to get bull rushed back. I think the Cowboys would be a better team if they did move Connor McGovern to center, and hopefully they do consider it eventually, but I'm not too sure it's going to happen. But we really need to make sure Tyler Biotish, because a lot of the drives that got killed today were because Tyler Biotish got bull rushed back by Javon Hargrave or Fletcher Cox, and he just absolutely got smashed into the quarterback, into Dak's lap, and it created pressures or sacks. So Tyler Biotish needs to get together. I didn't hear Tyron Smith's name or Terrence Steele, guys. Give a lot of credit. Terrence Steele is playing really good. He had a great offseason, and we're going to give him a lot of credit. He's played really good. Terrence Steele, didn't hear his name once tonight. Same thing with Tyron or Zach Martin. Those three guys, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, dominated. They were great. Connor Williams, he holds a lot. He needs to cut back on the holding calls, but other than that, I think if they just can plug McGovern in for Tyler Biotish, I think his O-line will be basically unstoppable. And it's gonna be really good, especially when you go against teams like Tampa Bay, the Rams, that have Aaron Donald, Vita Vea. They're gonna destroy Tyler Biotish every time. It's literally gonna wreck the game. You can't have that. So, yeah, Zerline missed an extra point tonight, but it didn't end up mattering. But hopefully he fixes that on the special teams. Overall, special teams, punting tonight. Thank God we have Brian Anger, man. No more Chris Jones. We actually have a punter that can flip the field. Like he made some good punts tonight, pinning them inside the 10, making a fair catch. Good stuff on special teams on the return game. They didn't let him break any returns. The coverage tonight was really, really, really good. So I appreciate how good the coverage was on the punts tonight. But other than that, I really don't have anything to talk about. I pretty much got everything off my chest that I wanted to say tonight. Nothing super special. I'll probably might have a podcast tomorrow. Eventually, the Stars played tonight. I think they lost 2-1 in overtime. I know Holpe and Ottinger played, but I'll talk about that later this week. We can get the preseason action for the Stars. But other than that, guys, I think that's gonna wrap up my post game show tonight, guys. It's already 11:45. I'm pretty tired. Long day at school. Got no school tomorrow. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the post game show. Hopefully, I laid out anything. If I missed anything, feel free to send me a DM on Twitter. If you ever want to come on the podcast and talk Cowboys or Stars or Mavs or whatever, Mavs Media Day was yesterday. Tomorrow, next pod I record, we'll probably get into some points that was made at Mavs Media Day, because there's a lot of interesting stuff at Mavs Media Day today. So we'll get into that to probably you'll be hearing it on Wednesday. Probably Wednesday's pod we'll get more into the Mavs Media Day and some interesting stuff with Jason Kidd but Chris Dobbs and everything going on with that. But other than that, your Dallas Cowboys win tonight, and you know what? Go Cowboys, baby. Woo!